The fishing news is brought to you by Shoreline Insurance Agency.
Win the incredible Steigercraft, Evinrude, Lowrance Grand Prize Boat Package, and more in the Fisherman's 2018 Dream Boat Fishing Challenge. Get the details at thefisherman.com. Lots of wind over the first part of the weekend made for some tough fishing conditions around the island and kept some boats tied to the dock. But there was enough good fishing over the weekend to make it clear that the fall fishing was in full swing. Weather-wise, it looks like we're in one of those stretches where the wind doesn't stop blowing. Saturday looks like a tough day with a stiff southwest wind and rain and a good breeze out of the northwest on Sunday. Unfortunately, this week's windy forecast could short-circuit any attempts to get offshore. Be sure to check for the latest weather updates as weather can change quickly this time of the year. The October issue of the Fisherman magazine is on newsstands now. The Fisherman staff has a great article on best bets for fall stripers, and Frank Mahalik has an informative article on why Tog Sharpies use jigs. These are just a few of the great reads in the October issue of the Fisherman magazine. Let's get to the reports. On the East End, Captain Tom Michalowski had no video report this week, but he did tell me that the constant wind has made it tough to get out. Striped bass has been spotty, but he said that the sea bass fishing over on Block Island has been very good. Now let's check in with Mike Dean from the Shinnecock area.
Thanks, Tim. Well, this cold snap did exactly what we thought. The fish are chewing. The bass up to 30 pounds off the beach. Peanut bunker, sand eels, predominant bait. Match the hatch, put your time in. They're biting at all stages of the tides. It's a really great time of year to be going after stripers. Tog season off to a great start, multiple 10-pound catches off the wrecks. This weekend could be a little tough with the wind forecast, but definitely some opportunities in the piers, bridges, and other structures. Back bay bass are on the peanut bunker. Bait's fairly thick. They're a little picky what part of the tide they want to feed at, but it's a good time. My little guy got his first one ever, all on his own, from cast to release this weekend on an S&S bucktail. Really was a great thing to see. That said, this resource that we hand over to other generations could be in danger. There's a big debate going on with the EEZ. Plenty of information at thefisherman.com. Please check it out, educate yourself on this issue, and let your voice be heard.
On the South Shore, the Bergen Bay Docks tournament out of West Babylon yielded only 2 bass weighed in from 16 boats over the 2-day event, and bluefish was not much better. There are blackfish around and plenty of blowfish everywhere in the bay, so that might be your best bet. Now let's go a little bit further west and check in with Joey Leggio.
I made it out, had one trip for Tom and his crew. Guys wanted to go for the porgies and the sea bass. We headed over to AB Reef. The fishing was not the best. It was a pick. We were catching porgies and sea bass. And then the guys decided to try for the inshore on the albacore and the bonito. We hit the beach. We got into about 30 feet of water. There was no birds to be found, but there was plenty of bait. All the bait you wanted, and it was stacked from the bottom up 20 feet. Now keep in mind, we were only fishing in 30 feet of water, so that's basically the whole entire water column filled with bait. Stopped the boat, the guy started casting these little epoxy jigs here. I don't know if you can see that. On light spinners and stuff, like these little 3000 series. This is a Salters back bay. That's all you need for these albacore and bonito. And let me tell you, the lines were ripping off these reels. It was so much fun. The bonito were on the small size. And we had probably about 40, maybe 50 of these little green bonito. And we had about 11 of the false albacore. But what a fight. It was a fantastic fighting fish on these light spin gear. And the guys had a blast. Also in that mix was some mackerel. And an awesome sighting for the guys was a huge, a guesstimated 300-pound thresher going crazy on the bunker schools and feasting. And we got to see that probably for about 15, 20 seconds. Until he went down and didn't see him again. But what a sight it was. I forget what day it was, a couple days ago, I shot out just to put some crab traps out, had about an hour to spare, jumped on some local pieces in the bay, and I found 7 small blackfish, 1 being a keeper at 16 inches. Hey, it's a start, something to try. And Wednesday, I had a trip. I had to cancel it because the weather was just terrible, the winds and everything else. But I had the day, so you know what, let me go out by myself. Shot over to the bridge, and the action was there. It was incredible. Probably had, again, 40 blackfish, taking only 3 keepers out of those fish. Most of those fish are very small, 13, 14-inch fish. Did manage 3 keepers. The biggest one was a 17.5-inch fish. Also, which was pretty unique, I had a dozen stripers with tubing keeper size up to 32 inches on the jigs with the green crabs. I've caught bass before on the jig with the green crab, but never a dozen of them. So that was pretty unique. It was cool. A lot of fun again on those same light spinning outfits. The action's there. You know, guys, if it's rough out there, you could try. There's so many spots in the bay you can hit. There's structural all over the place. You know, the stripers are everywhere in the bay right now. There's blackfish. I did have a keeper sea bass today also on the bridge, which was cool. So the action's there. So because that ocean's really that bad, you can still get out there and fish. But hopefully these winds stop, and I don't know. Right now it's not looking too good, but once those winds stop, I'm going to be getting out there, and I'm going to be fishing these reefs now. Atlantic Beach, Rockaway, Bergalls, all those reefs should be loaded with blackfish right now. Temperatures dropping, so other than that, that's really my report, and I'll talk to you soon, Tim. Thank you.
Also from the west, let's check in with Chris Ludwig.
Thank you, Tim. What's going on, guys? So this past week, the fishing's been real good, and I've been very busy. We've been catching some green bonito, some false albacore, and some mackerel on these small profile baits like the crippled herring. And we have a smaller deadly dick over here, as well. You know, the DOA Terrorize comes out, and it comes into play a lot when we found these fish in the back by bridges pushing bait against the walls. So that definitely has an effect as well. On the striped bass side of things, live eels at night, that's where I'm at. That's what I've been doing. I've had a bunch of guys out with me. It's been very good. My best fish is 19 pounds. I've been blown out of the water already many times, but what are you going to do? I'm focused on getting these people on fish, you know? So on the freshwater side of things, largemouth bass, we've been catching them heavily on spinnerbaits and Texas rigged, yum dingers, Sankos, whatever you want to use. It's been great. Low and slow retrieve. Really, it's really simple fishing. That's very fun to do, guys.
Now let's check in with Luke Feeney from Sheepshead Bay.
Thank you, Tim. Hey folks, this week has provided a massive change from what it's been the last few weeks. The temperatures have dropped down into the 50s and 60s during the day and the low to mid 40s during the night. This cold snap should kick the fall run into action very shortly. Those Basset Blues will be moving in along the beach on the bunker pods very shortly, along with at the Rockaway Jetty, both on trolling spoons, trolling plugs, and live bunker. And the porgies and sea bass are moving into the deeper water off those inshore structures, and the blackfish are moving right in and taking their place. The season just opened on Monday in the New York Bight area, and the blackfish can already be found on many of the inshore structures where you catch porgies and sea bass during the summer and early fall seasons. Some of my favorite inshore spots here in the Rockaway Inlet area are the Manhattan Beach Reef, some of the broken down piers outside of the Bay House and off of the Lighthouse in Breezy, and the Marine Park Bridge by those wooden stanchions. Those are all great areas for blackfish, early season especially. And some of my favorite baits, I like the green crabs and the Asian crabs for inshore blackfishing, and I like the white crabs when we're fishing in a little bit deeper water out in the ocean. They work better in the deeper water generally. And the albies are in full swing as of late. I found them the other day a little east of the Rockaway Jetty. I'm throwing a lot of different things. I'm throwing these albie snacks, which are the small soft plastics, throwing small tins, and I'm throwing a little bit bigger tins. A lot of things seem to be working, especially in the rougher water. Guys are even throwing swimming plugs at them and getting them. But I find that in the calmer water, they're a little more finicky. So you just have to test it out for that day and see what works. Not everything works on any given day. So you just need to test it out, see what works, and that's your best shot at catching those albies this time of year.
From the Staten Island area, let's check in with Mike Manguel.
Hey Tim, hey fishermen, hope all is well. For this week, I must say, temperatures are just about right, but the wind, not so favorable. Fished out the Verrazano Bridge, the wind and current were opposites. Can't even get a good drift. You're lucky to get a couple striped bass out of an 8-hour run. The conditions have to be there to be more productive, but the fish are there. If you check multiple media sources, you would definitely see that multiple fishermen have been catching quite a few bass. So after this storm passes by, some winds in the 30 to 35 knots, next week should look somewhat favorable. So get out there, guys, sharpen your hooks, and now's the time before Christmas. So let's go.
No report from Aaron this week. I think he's out getting a battery for a smoke detector. But let's check in now with Peter Tarnowski.
Thanks, Tim. Well, the week started out a little bit rough. I want to thank Danny over at Cito for getting me back safely and quickly after a couple of issues out on the water. The week definitely got better. On Sunday, went out for blackfish at the crack of dawn, and we were able to witness a beautiful sunrise while we were out by the Lipa Stacks. There's a rock pile over there. No secret, there were a ton of boaters over there, so I'm not burning any spots. The blackfish action was very solid, especially the last 2 hours of the outgoing tide that morning. Lots of keepers, and even the shorts were nice size. We were using green crabs and Asian crabs. Both were very effective, and we were using your typical banana tog jigs. Got a number of other fish out there while we were going after the blackfish, including a few dogfish, some bluefish, and also a super jumbo 17-inch porgy out there, which was nice. It was really fun. Blackfish are very challenging, so we had a great time, and also at the end of the day had a great meal. Back to you, Tim. Thanks.
From Cow Harbor Bait and Tackle in Northport, we have Mark McGowan. Mark, what do you got going for us?
Hey, thanks, Tim. It's Captain Mark here. Gotta say, the blackfish season in Eaton's Neck area really started off with a bang. We weighed in fish coming in on some of the groups, Huntington Anglers, really skilled group of guys. They had fish up to 7 pounds weighed in, and it seems like there's no shortage of short but hungry blackfish in some of the local spots as well. You got to weed them out, but the temperature seemed to be 67, which is around 3 degrees less than last week's report, and that's a great sign. The jigging world is doing wonderful. If you enjoy smaller striped bass or just a lot of action with these 4-pound bluefish, then there's a great game in it for you. The winds are kicking in. I'm hanging out. I'm doing the next best thing. I'm taking some blackfish from earlier in the week, and I'm going to make one of my favorite things, blackfish chowder. I'm going to hang out and just enjoy it. So the past few days have been nothing but building custom rods, doing a lot of reel service, and preparing for this next week coming into dying out winds and hopefully a little bit of weather. Overcast days aren't a problem. It's creating like cooler temps. We're coming into 40-degree nights, so we're going to see something change up. Hopefully it doesn't cool down too fast so we can enjoy these blackfish in shallower areas and just keep pounding it out, Well, one thing we noticed that the back of the harbor is the last 4 days, as soon as these winds kicked up from the north, there was a really nice bite going on with bass up to 10 pounds. And again, those never show large bluefish, strictly cookie cutter 4-pound bluefish, one after the other. And it's great action, but it makes you wonder just where are these larger bluefish, which is probably maybe something that we have to look into.
A big aloha to Hawaiian Dan.
Thanks, Tim. Now everybody, stop. Right there, dead in your tracks. Put your heart into it and say it with me as loud as you can in 3, 2, 1. Aloha! Yes, I'm Hawaiian Dan of TalkFishTV.com, and you and I are going to show the world what aloha is all about. So get out there and make somebody smile today, will you? Just like I'm about to do with today's fishing report. Now, last week I mentioned there was a vast array of bait fish found throughout the central North Shore of Long Island. This week I'm going to tell you with the first temperature drop of the fall season in the low 40s at night, it has turned the striper bite on like Donkey Kong. Yes, they are super aggressive, super hungry, and they are hitting hard and fast. Now I must give credit where credit is due, and that this week is to the Long Island chapter of the Salt Savages that can be found on Facebook. A gentleman by the name of Keith Bueller put me on to this chicken scratch pattern SP minnow, and they lit it up left and right. I paired it against other lures, and that was the only lure that they hit every single time. So do yourself a favor, sign up for a wonderful group like this one, hang out with a bunch of great guys and anglers that will help put you on the catch and share their tips with you. And until next week, this is Hawaiian Dan from TalkFishTV.com telling you to get off those couches, grab those rods, and get out there and fish. Now back to you, Tim. Aloha!
Let's get the surf report with senior editor Fred Golofaro.
Hey, thanks, Tim. And I've been preaching that we ought to be prepared for a lot of small fish again this fall. Well, fish can make a liar out of you sometimes, and if the past few days have been any indication, it looks like we might have a real honest-to-goodness fall run taking shape. The weekend saw some very good fishing for quality fish all through the Southampton, East Hampton town beaches. Paulie from Paulie's Tackle Shop, Ken from Tight Lines, Jeff from Whitewater, all had good reports from the weekend. A lot of fish in the teens, 20s and 30s, even a couple of fish up to 40 pounds taken along those beaches. Actually anywhere from Montauk sand beaches, Heather Hills, Napeague, through Amagansett, and then all through Southampton. Again, quite a few fish. The better fishing was at night on the weekend. Guys throwing needlefish and actually throwing diamond jigs with tubes in the middle of the night. The key to all this fishing is there have been big sand eels along the beach, some up to 9-10 inches. And that apparently has been the draw for getting these fish in tight to the beach. And there's been scattered quality fish, further west also. There's been some fish picked at Finn's and Smith Point, Cupsog. There was a good night of Cupsog Monday night. One of the guys from J&J had a bunch of fish up to 18 pounds. So the action is spreading west. The conditions have been tough the last couple of days. A lot of wind. You can probably hear it. I don't know if you can see the surf in the background here. But we had the heavy southwest Monday, blowing a gale out of the west on Tuesday. And looks like no let up as far as the wind goes. But we are going to have some northwest. That should flatten things out. And hopefully we'll see some good fishing to the west. We had the South Shore Classic on the weekend. Only 5 fish qualified to enter, and we did have one release fish, 37.5 inches. The biggest fish was 41.02 pounds, and quite a story to that. Give it to you real quick. It took place over at Smith Point. It was Ziggy Solikowski. Again, short story. We're going to cover this in the tail end down the road. But Ziggy left his rod in the sand spike, went to talk to another caster, Joe, resting in a truck nearby. 30 seconds later, turns around, the rod's gone. He's up and down the beach with a snag hook, trying to snag his rod or line. Finally comes back to the truck where he starts all over again, casting, snagging. Eventually snags the line, works the rod back to the beach, full of sand, so him and Joe clear the reel out so he can fight the fish. End result, 41 pounder. He wins the contest with that fish. Great story. The other 2 top fish were 32, 31 pounds, so some nice fish around. But there have been other fish. The end of last week, there was a 32 at field 3. There was a 26 on Friday evening at field 2. So these are fish we haven't been seeing the last couple of years, and I think it's only going to build. There are sand eels down through the western part of the island, so it's looking pretty good, and I'm pretty optimistic now that we're going to have some decent fish around this fall. The North Fork has been alive with bonito, with albacore, bluefish, and bass. Mostly smaller bass, like up to 32, 34 inches. A buddy of mine did get a very big bluefish up there, John Tartaro. He had a 20-pound bluefish on the weekend up on the North Fork. So things are shaping up. We also have the Babylon Surf Cup coming up. That's the weekend of the 26th and the 28th. It's sponsored by Town of Babylon, Palmanock Surfcasters, and Libba. And you can sign up that Friday evening on the 26th in the Capt in the Cedar Beach Overlook parking lot. Good tournament. You also get a permit with that registration that allows you to fish the Babylon Town beaches the rest of the fall. Can't beat that. Sure, I'll see you there. Till then, Fred Golofaro here for thefisherman.com.
Shark fishing along the 20-fathom line is red hot, with plenty of 200 to 300-pound threshers and makos being taken. Live mackerel, bluefish, chicken, mahi, bonito, albies have been the baits of choice. The first annual Bergen Bay Docks Shark Tournament was a success, with Bob Tyree and crew weighing in this 224.5-pound mako aboard the J-Mar. However, the biggest shark was in the thresher category. Wayne Kelly and Rick Davies boated this 272.5 thresher on Rick's boat Overspray.
The fish actually got hooked up exactly a half a mile east of the Oregon.
Rick was bottom fishing a little bit, and our rod just started to go off, so we let it run. We socked it up. We felt like we had the fish on. Then we felt like he dropped, right?
Yeah.
And then we got...
We felt like we lost it. We started reeling in, we let the line back out, it picked it up again and took off, did another run. And then the same exact thing happened. We fought the fish again for another 5 minutes, and then we thought we lost it again, but it was actually running towards the boat. So that's when I started the boat and put it in forward, and we regained the fish, and it took us 45 minutes to get it, a gaff in it and a tail rope on it.
They also took the bluefish Calcutta with a half-pound bluefish that they used the next day to entice the thresher.
So how this starts out is yesterday we fished the whole day from Fire Island Inlet to Jones Inlet and back looking for bass. And we're about to call it again, we seen birds working. So we started throwing jigs thinking maybe there was bass under that. And we're getting small bluefish, half-pound bluefish. 4 or 5 of them we got. We put them in the live well. We came into the dock. We're talking to Scott. He said, weigh it in. So we weighed it in. That's our half-pound bluefish. Now we put this bluefish back in the live well, and this morning they were still alive. Brought them out with us, hooked them up, and that's where our fish caught.
Weigh everything in.
Weigh it in. Not only that, go into Calcutta.
Mark Keller at Bay Park Fishing Station in Oceanside reported Jacob Raft put a 220-pound, 84-inch Mako aboard Nick Savine's No Time on Sunday. They also released 2 smaller Makos. The same day, the Nancy released 2 nice Makos and a huge blue shark. Upcoming events, the 19th through the 21st, we have the Salty Fly Rodders of New York 51st Annual Conclave. October 20th is the New York DEC iFish New York's Family Fishing Festival at Hempstead Lake State Park. October 26th through the 28th, the Town of Babylon's Autumn Surf Cup will be going on. And October 27th through the 28th is the Nassau County Police Striped Bass Tournament. We have some new entries in the Fisherman's Dream Boat Contest to win a new Steiger craft. Long Island subscriber Garrett Weir weighed in this 4.13-pound sea robin, and Skip Rosate of New Jersey landed this 12.25-pound blackfish. All it takes to be part of the Dreamboat Contest is to be a subscriber to the Fisherman magazine and for you to get out there and fish hard. If you'd like to be part of our weekly video fishing forecast, we are looking for social media savvy anglers for hyperlocal reporting from around the New York metro and Long Island area. So if you're a captain, a tackle shop, or just an avid angler, contact me at libayrat@gmail.com. For links and more information, be sure to check out this video's description on YouTube. Remember, like our video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and be a subscriber to the Fisherman magazine to be part of the Dreamboat Contest. Get out there, catch 'em up. This is Tim C. Smith for thefisherman.com.